So let's talk about Arkham Knight. I'm going to make sure that this video is split into two parts. That way anybody who didn't finish the game won't have to worry about spoilers in the first part of the video. And then at some point in the video, I'll let you know when the spoilers are coming. That way, if you haven't beaten the game, you don't have to worry about it. You can turn the video off, or if you don't want to know who the plot twists are and all that kind of stuff, then you can stop it. So overall, I really liked the game. I thought it was cool. It was pretty much more of the same. If you've ever played the Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, Arkham Origins, same kind of thing. There was a lot of focus on the Batmobile parts, which I wasn't crazy about. For me, there was a little too much of that, but again, that was something new, so you knew they were going to try and cram as much of it in as they could. I will say they changed around some of the controls a little bit from the previous Arkham games. Recently, over the past couple months, I played Arkham City and Arkham Asylum again, and I beat both of those. So I was used to certain buttons doing certain things, and they're different now. So, for example, I was in a big melee fight with a bunch of people on the street, and I press a button thinking it's going to do one thing, and instead, like, the Batmobile whips around the corner, and I just hop in. I'm like, that's not really what I was going for, but all right. Just be prepared for that. You're going to have to kind of recalibrate what buttons you're pressing to do certain attacks. And some of your quick fire things are a little different too, so just be ready for that. Some of the things I did like were the different combat scenarios that you could do. Like, a lot of the times at different points during the game, you could almost do like a tag team situation where like you and another character would be all fighting a group of bad guys at once, and you could switch between you and, for example, Nightwing or Robin or whoever. But I thought that was really cool because I like the different characters, and they all have their own unique movesets and all that kind of stuff. If there's one thing I wish the game had that it really didn't, it would be a good boss fight. What I mean is like where Arkham Origins had like fights against characters like Deathstroke and Croc and Bane and stuff like that. Arkham Knight didn't really have that. You didn't really get like a solid like showdown where it was you and the Arkham Knight, for example, like fighting, and you had to like dodge his attacks and fight him and do certain things to him and all that kind of stuff. You didn't really get much of that, which is something that I kind of wish that we'd been able to do. Scarecrow is awesome. I really like the way they did Scarecrow in this game. What else can I say that's not going to spoil anything? So if you're looking for just a recommendation over whether you should buy it or whether you should play it, I would say go for it. If you like the other Arkham games, yes, I highly recommend it. And I've only played through the main campaign so far, so for all I know, I could be wrong about the whole no boss fight thing, because you might wind up fighting different characters and stuff through the side missions and stuff. But yeah, I would say pick it up. If you like the previous couple of Arkham games, this is more of the same and definitely worth it. Some different stuff you could do. So yeah, that's my non-spoiler section. Here's a spoiler warning. Spoiler. Not that spoiler. I know. God, I'm such a failure. Overall, I like the thing where they brought the Joker's consciousness into Batman, and they had that whole dynamic going between the two of them. It was a great way to bring the Joker back into the Arkham series without having the Joker be the focal point of the entire game. The thing about Batman is, like, he doesn't need to have the Joker be the main focus of everything he's doing. But I think marketing knows that Joker belongs in a Batman game, and if they're going to have him, they might as well showcase him. So that's why the Joker wound up being like the biggest threat in pretty much every other Batman game that they've made in the Arkham franchise so far. So it was nice to have that be different in this game. I thought, like I said before, Scarecrow was awesome. The reveal of the Arkham Knight, I understand why they made it Jason Todd, but I kind of wish they had gone with something different. Because they set it up throughout the game where Batman's having flashbacks of Jason Todd being killed and all that stuff, and for all intents and purposes, if you've only ever played the Arkham games and don't know anything about Batman, they're pretty much giving you flashbacks of this character so that you, in your mind, set up that this is going to be who the reveal is, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, you know, fine. I mean, it was fine, and they did it well, but I just wish it was something a little more interesting. Something for fans of Batman that want to see something different. Because I'm not one of those people that has to have everything be just like the Batman comics. I mean, if I want something to be just like the comics, I'll just read the comics. You know, the movies don't have to be the same, the TV shows, all that. You can kind of go your own way with it, and as long as you're respectful to the source material, I'll probably dig it. So with that said, you may think, like, well, who do you have in mind for the Arkham Knight? Hear me out, because this is going to sound ridiculous, but in your own mind, you can tell me if you think this makes sense. Arkham Knight. Oracle. I know you're thinking, that's stupid. Not yet. Tell me it's stupid at the end if you think it's stupid. But if not, listen. Who else could stay that far ahead of Batman all the time? She knows everything about him. She's constantly tapped into him and all of his allies and everything. And she basically is able to stay... Well, she's able to keep Batman a step or two ahead of all the bad guys. Why wouldn't she herself be able to stay a step or two ahead of Batman? She's got the technological aspect down. And you're probably thinking, well, she's in a wheelchair. She's not going to fight Batman. If you're familiar with your comics, you know that Professor X from the X-Men occasionally is shown to be able to walk, as long as he's wearing like a couple of leg brace things, or if he has like that cyber suit thing that Forge invented for him, or whatever the case. I don't know specifically, but the point is Professor X can walk from time to time if he's wearing the right thing. They can make it so he's like, well, Arkham Knight has a hydraulic Iron Man type suit, and that'll be like how you get around Barbara being able to walk around in that suit. Plus, the reveal of having it be a woman instead of a man, that would be cool. And that would kind of flash back to something like Mask of the Phantasm, where, you know, the main villain in the movie at the end turns out to be the woman who Batman like was in love with previously, in like flashbacks and stuff throughout the whole movie. The only thing lacking is the motive. Why would Oracle do this? What would be the point of her turning against Batman and all that? Well, they kind of set the stage for that in the beginning of the game when she's like telling Commissioner Gordon that she's safely out of Gotham City, but then you see her, she's like, yeah, I'm still in Gotham City. That kind of implies that she's always lying to Gordon, and I think she even says, she's like, you know, I hate lying to my family like this, my dad and whatever. You get the impression that for years Batman's been basically telling her like, oh, you have to lie to your only family because I need you. And then you see through the course of the game, Batman is kind of treating Robin like crap, and he's just very distrustful of the people around him, and he's he's manipulating everybody and all this other stuff. Oracle will see that too, because she constantly is like interacting with all of Batman's side characters and like all of his allies and stuff, and she would no doubt be affected by this in some point or another. She's probably tired of that. She's probably tired of being manipulated and seeing her friends be manipulated, and knowing that, you know, even going as far back as Jason Todd, knowing that Batman probably did the same thing to him, and you could allude to the fact that that's what got him killed, like stuff like that, you know. I think it would have been interesting. It might have painted Batman as kind of like the heel of the story in a way, but hey, this is a darker story than the previous Arkham games, so you're allowed to paint your hero with a little bit more shades of gray, you know. What I think would have been also cool about this, because I was thinking about this throughout the course of the game as I was playing, you wouldn't have had to change much about the actual game up to the reveal. Here's the thing. You see Arkham Knight and Barbara Gordon in the same shot from time to time, but it's either on CCTV or it's like through the crime scene analysis thing that you have to go and piece together the crime scene and all that kind of stuff. This is Oracle, okay? She could easily like falsify CCTV footage, and she could, you know, set up her own crime scene basically and doctor whatever she needs to doctor to throw Batman off the trail. So I mean, you could have still had all that stuff be in the game and then still had Oracle be the Arkham Knight at the end, and I thought that would have been, you know, kind of interesting, something different. Problem is, I think a lot of Batman loyal subject fans would have been just like, ooh, it's stupid, I don't like it when things are different. So that's just my brainstorming why I think Oracle would have worked. I mean, she has the motivation, she has the skill to be able to pull it off, she has the knowledge about Batman and all of his allies and all that kind of stuff. And as Batgirl, she could fight. So, you know, she retains at least some martial arts knowledge and all that kind of stuff. And if you give her the Arkham Knight suit with its mech enhancement crap, whatever, she'd be able to do some moves, and you could actually stand toe-to-toe with Batman. So I would have thought that would have been cool if they did that. But instead we got Jason Todd, which was predictable and understandably so. I liked it fine, but, you know, like I said, I was wishing for maybe a little something else. So those are my thoughts. Arkham Knight. Have you played it? What do you think? Did you like it? Tell me who you think the Arkham Knight should have been if you weren't happy about Jason Todd. Tell me how much of a dumbass you think I am, because I think it should have been Oracle, because that would have been fun and different and, you know, all that. It's about all I got today, but thank you for watching, and catch up with you next time.